everybody, this is Alma Love Books. I'm your host Alma, and welcome to my reading corner. Today I am going to do the This or That book tag, and I watched it on A Blonde with a Book. So I will link her video down below. You guys should check her out. Seriously, I love her energy, and I love watching her videos. So, yeah, check her out down below, and let's get started, shall we? So, the first This or That, would you rather read standalones or trilogies? Personally, I always find that the second book in a trilogy ends up lacking in some format, and I think that I would rather read a standalone for that fact. Because I find that trilogies tend to drag out things that don't really need to be dragged out, and just to make them a trilogy, they could have more than likely been a standalone book themselves. So, yes, I pick standalones for that one. Second is female authors or male authors. And I'm going to have to say it depends on the genre. When it comes to contemporary and or romance, I much prefer females. And when it comes to horrors or mysteries or thrillers, I tend to stick more toward male, like Richard Lehman and Stephen King. There's one female thriller novelist that I absolutely love, and you seriously should check her out, guys. It's Yrsa Sigurðardóttir. She has been likened to the Icelandic Stephen King. I read I Remember You, and oh my goodness, I was on the edge of my seat. I couldn't sleep after I read this book. It was that terrifying. And I read No Sanctuary by Richard Lehman when I was like 15 years old. I also have read a lot of Gothic type novels. Thank you, B.C. Andrews, for bringing that one into light. Third, buying from Barnes & Noble or off of Amazon. Now, I don't like Amazon. They're too expensive for my taste, and the shipping is astronomical in my opinion. I personally have never stepped into a Barnes & Noble. I shop my local bookstore frequently, though, and my bookstore chain is Chapters Indigo. So, I'm going to have to say Chapters. I prefer going into a bookstore. Would you rather your books become movies or TV shows? And while there are some great movie adaptations out there, like Practical Magic or Forrest Gump, where it was easier to follow the movie than it was the book, we're going to set those aside, and we're going to focus on the fact that a lot of times you don't get the proper content in a movie that you would if you had let it draw out into a series. So for that, I'm going to have to say TV series. I like the idea of getting to be emotionally attached for long periods of time to a character. Would you rather only read 5 pages a day or have to read 5 books a week? I would have picked 5 books a week if my schedule would have allowed it. However, because I am a mom and my life revolves around making sure that my little ones grow up healthy, happy, and strong, and independent, I have to go with only 5 pages a day, mainly because that seems to be all I'm able to read these days. Anyway, so I pick 5 pages a day. I know it draws out a book a little longer, but this lets me focus on what needs to be focused on. Now, if I didn't have those responsibilities, I would totally pick 5 books a week. Would you rather be a professional reviewer or author? Now, I have had a story in the works for a very long time. But every time I go to write it, I can't bring myself to write it. But it is a story that I think needs to be out there. So if it meant I could get that story finally out and on the shelves, I would definitely rather be a professional author. I would love to have somebody else's mind shaped by the words that I have written. Okay, would you rather only reread your top 20 favorites or only read new books? I, for the most part, am not a huge rereader of books. I have a few go-tos when I'm stumped or in a bit of a reading slump. I'll go back to them to kind of reset my palate. But for the most part, I read new books. So for this one, I'm going to have to go with new books. Be a librarian or a bookseller? Honestly, bookseller. Would you rather only read your favorite genre or anything but your favorite genre? I don't have a favorite genre. I have a least favorite genre. So if it was more, would you rather have to read your least favorite genre, I would have picked, I would rather read anything but. But I don't have a favorite genre, so I don't know that this one really applies to me. I guess I would have to say anything but. And last but not least, would you rather only read physical books or ebooks? And I like my physical books. I read in the bathtub a lot, so I'm always worried about the ebook getting wrecked. Also, I do find that staring at screens gives me headaches. The brightness of it, I've even inverted the text and had the text white where the background's black, and it doesn't seem to help. So I'm going to go with physical book because they don't hurt me. Anyway, let me know what you thought of my video down below. Tell me anything about you that you feel is noted, and anybody who wants to do the this or that would you rather booktube edition book tag, please feel free to check it out. Thank you for joining me today, and have a lovely afternoon.